everybody. It is Monday, August 4th, and you know what that means. It's time for the High Risk Wrestling Recap. I am your host, Jeremy Pierce. You know you can check out the socials, Charismatic Creations on Facebook and YouTube, Charismatic_Creations52 on Instagram, and of course the 215. And without further ado, let's get into the news. Former WWE star and TNA star Rhea Khan has been arrested. She has been hit with felony, multiple misdemeanor charges are on her way. She was arrested in New York City. This is coming from criminal trespass and a second degree and in the third degree. What the hell was she doing now? There was also some property damage. Looks like Killer Kelly will be taking some time off, but her contract probably will be extended. And she's just, taking time. She just came back from having a baby, and then immediately went to a chain match against her former tag team partner. I really like Killer Kelly. She should be a big star in TNA. WWE Unreal has debuted, and I don't really care for the show, so I just keep up on it. I keep notes on it. But we got the original early version of what the WrestleMania 41 card was supposed to look like, and it is as follows: Cena and Cody for the WWE Championship, Seth and Roman one-on-one, Gunther Punk for the world title, Rhea Bianca for the world title, Nia versus Jade for the women's championship, Randy versus KO, Judgment Day versus the Wyatts in a six-man tag match, Becky and Charlotte versus Io and Asuka for the women's tag team titles, AJ versus Logan Paul, Bad Bunny versus Dominic Mysterio, Braun Breaker versus Drew with Stone Cold as the special ref, Ray versus Chad Gable, and then multi-man match for not only the Intercontinental Championship but the United States Championship, both in tag team matches. So that card seems much better. Of note, LA Knight, Jey Uso, Jimmy Uso, and Carmelo Hayes were all in these ladder matches, and it looks like Triple H does not care about Carmelo Hayes. That's a different story for a different day. The Ring Boy lawsuit going against the WWE. The plaintiffs fire back at TKO and WWE, and then it's an explosive court filing. They're stating that the abuse happened, and WWE ran regular events, and they are going to pay. Tony Khan has made significant changes to meetings before AEW shows. Now they're having full-on meetings instead of sporadically throughout the day. It's not really a production meeting, but it's getting everything in focus, and that really helps. AEW has over the past week announced the time dates for two of their final two pay-per-views of the year that they haven't been having dates. So World's End will be going down World's End will be going down in Chicago December 27th at the Now Arena, and it was just announced today Full Gear is going back to the Prudential Center in Newark, New Jersey, as it will be taking place Saturday, November 22nd. This is the third Full Gear in Newark. It was there last year, and it was there in 2022. I went there last year, and guess what? I'll be going back this year. We have an update on Alberto Del Rio after his AAA exit. There are no plans for him to go back to the U.S., but that could also change. He is expected to return to AAA programming at some point. There are people on the WWE roster that also want him back, so we shall see how that works and plays out for him. Sticking with AAA, WWE wants to open up a performance center in Mexico for AAA, and you would think that, hey, this kind of hurts the Lucha Libre style, but AAA has never really been about classic Lucha Libre. They're not CMLL, so we should see how that goes. Remember this name, Alina Cross. She has been working in TNA. She has showed up in AEW. She is probably the new it girl on the indie since Kaylee Ray is signed with the WWE. Lena Cross has some good friends in good places, especially India Hartwell, Alex Windsor, Jamie Hayter. Pay attention to her. So Tony Khan has said in an interview that, get this, women's tag team titles are made. The belts are here. But he says that there are too many injuries and he wants to bring apart the best division possible. And that's why he hasn't introduced the belts. Now, I can understand that you want to have, your top talent available for the division, but looking at the roster right now, you have TJ, Athena, and Billy Starks, Mercedes Moné and Harley Cameron, the Triangle of Madness, Megan Bayne and Penelope Ford, Mina Shirakawa and Toni Storm, potentially Willow and Chris, Deanna and Taya, and the Renegade Twins. Now, I will admit, Renegade Twins are hurt. I think Penelope Ford is hurt, so I can kind of get where he's coming from. So we shall see if he truly moves forward with this women's tag team division. And you have a lot of other women on the TNA roster, the Ring of Honor roster, that aren't really being used, that could use some, use a push. I'm all for it. I think the title should be defended between both Ring of Honor and AEW. During Unreal, also Cody says he felt a little bit disrespected in AEW, which is part of the reason why he returned to WWE. There's no bad blood. It's just that something happened. It's probably between him and Tony Khan, because there's no heat between him and the Bucks and Kenny Omega. Charlotte has bitten back. She's over the fans, labeling her character one-dimensional, and her reasoning is this: how can she hasn't had the opportunity to be different? Yes, she is the same character. Yes, she gets the same storylines over and over and over again, but she's saying she can't go into a title match goofing off. She can't be something that she's not. She can't come out with pom-poms and chasing the moment. And it's because she's been constant. I mean, she's here, then she's not. She's here, then she's not. It also has held her back. So we shall see where this goes with her and Alexa Bliss. TNA, they are in talks with two potential networks to get a TV show. One is the CW and the other is A&E. For those networks that are familiar, WWE airs on both of those channels. We'll see how that goes. Looks like WWE Speed is no more. Maybe the contract with Twitter is up, but the Speed Championships, all of that stuff, it is over and done with. And Matthew Renholt and Tom Hannafin have re-signed with TNA, extending their contracts. They are the commentary team for TNA. And lastly, in the injury side of things, we have just one major injury. Dustin Rhodes will be out for the rest of the year. He'll be coming back sometime in 2026. He needs to have an invasive major surgery. He's getting an MRI done, but he will be out for the time being. Well, that is the news, and we'll be right back with the weekend review. All right, let's get into the weekend review. We start off with Monday Night Raw. This is the SummerSlam Go Home show. We start off with Paul Heyman and Jey Uso, and Heyman tells Jey that Roman's is selfish. Why would you team up with him? Come on, we see what he does. He doesn't truly care about you. And Jey says that he did everything to prove not only he could do it alone, but in spite of Roman, and they're going to win at SummerSlam. AJ and the Kabuki Warriors defeated the Judgment Day in a fun mixed tag team match. The New Day ditched Grayson Waller as he steps up to Sheamus. Sheamus then goes on to beat Grayson Waller. Rusev jumped Sheamus after the match, hit him with the Shillelagh, and then locked in the Accolade. Would not let it go. Naomi says to not be surprised when she retains at SummerSlam. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Guess who retained at SummerSlam? Braun gives Bronson Reed a pep talk. Like, everybody thinks we're leaderless, but no, we got this. Becky Lynch tries to sneak attack Lyra Valkyria after Lyra's promo, but Lyra got the better of Becky, forcing her to retreat. And we know the rules of opposite minimum. Karrion Kross interrupts Sami Zayn's interview, telling him that one of them will win at SummerSlam and one of them will admit the truth. Bayley's lost. She missed out on WrestleMania. She now doesn't have a match at SummerSlam. something's got to change. I'm going to tell you what's going to change. Davina Rose is all elite. Just letting y'all know that. All right. Naomi walks out on her team in the 8-woman tag match. It was Naomi, Chelsea Green, the Secret Herbers versus Rhea, Io, Nikki, and Stephanie Vaquer. This is kind of like the AEW party match, and it was really, really fun. It was a fun match. The Judgment Day are stronger than ever, and they go on to defeat the LWO to retain the tag team championships after a different El Grande Americano interfered. I have no idea why they took Zelina Vega from the LWO. It does not make any sense. Gunther says Punk can't be the best in the world when you're not world champion, and Punk says, well, he needs to be champion, and that's what's going to happen at SummerSlam. And in the main event, Jey Uso defeated Bronson Reed by DQ after Braun just ended up beating on Jey. Getting involved, Roman tried making the save, but he got taken out with a tsunami, and then Bronson Reed stole this man's J's, took his shoes. That's funny. Took that man's J's. Over on Dynamite, the show gets a fist. We had some good storytelling. So we open up with the Young Bucks beating the Outrunners to advance to the tag team title tourney to face the Hurt Syndicate at Forbidden Door. Swerve made the save from Okada, and I like where they're going here with this. I'm expecting a 6-man tag match at some point within like the next week or so, with Okada and the Bucks being back to the Elite, taking on the Outrunners and Swerve. Ricochet interrupts Mark Briscoe's interview, and Mark's like, listen, I'm gonna beat you because I'm mad and I'm very, very tired of all the BS. MJF is out of the Hurt Syndicate. Is it a ruse? We don't know. Shelton's like, listen, I know the watch is fake. I know this, that, and the third. And the only reason I kept you in here and support you was because the MVP had your back. But once you disappointed him and pissed him off, it was a wrap. And then MJF is no longer in the Hurt Syndicate. Christian, in a very awkward in-ring interview with Tony Schiavone, is still himself. Calls out Copeland for saying, yo, I mean, you were once the ultimate opportunist, and you're going to get on me. It was just it just didn't work, but I get the main point that he was putting forth. And he goes to leave, and he's about to get jumped by, well, Mama Wayne meets him on the stage, and he knows what's going down. He takes out Kip Sabian, but Nick gets the better of him, and he gets hit with a concerto, and it sounded like that one hurt. FTR are happy that the Bucks are getting their groove back, and they can do this dance one more time. Heyman defeated Jon Moxley, retaining the AEW World Championship. This was a fantastic match. Everybody was banned from ringside, but Moxley and the Riders had a plan. Well, they again didn't count for Darby Allin. Marina tried helping, and ultimately they failed. Mox loses. Hangman still the champion. Athena and Billy Starks go on to defeat Tony Storm and Alex Windsor. Tony and Alex work really, really well together, but Athena ultimately pinned Tony after hitting her with the O face. Hangman Adam Page doesn't fall for Max MJF's goading. Max is like, yo, just give me the match. And MJF is like, no. So Hangman's like, yo, you want this match? Put that contract on, because use your contract, because there are people way behind that are ahead of you that deserve title shots, like Mark Briscoe. Speaking of Mark Briscoe, he goes on to defeat Ricochet in the main event. I get why Mark won if he's going to get a title match, but we can't be having Ricochet in the Gates of Agony lose when they just came together. Mark calls out MJF. MJF tries to sneak attack him, but ultimately fails. Hangman Adam Page helped Mark Briscoe. Over on Impact, we're getting back at NXT. We're building towards our next event, which is Emergence. This show gets a fist. Leon Slater defeated Cedric Alexander and Jason Hodge to retain the X Division Championship. Masha Slamovich says she will win tonight, regaining the Knockouts Championship. Cedric Alexander tells Slater that he didn't beat him, and Slater's like, I still won the match. You lost. Just because I didn't pin you doesn't mean I didn't beat you. You lost. So we're probably going to get feud with these two. Indy and Danny Luna defeated Jody Threat and Ariana Grace. Victoria Crawford was cheering on and watching from ringside. Jake Something says he's ready to move past Mance Warner and is focused on Steve Macklin in the International Championship. The Rascals go on to defeat the Nemus. The Nemus will get their rematch at Emergence in a the city that they're in, which brings out the hometown man, and the Rascals made the save. Cass says he won't back down and be pushed by management, so he's going right to the top. Santana will fight back. He's been here in this position before, but he will become the champion and get it off of Trick Williams. JC Chain defeated Ash by elegance. Defeated Monster Slamovich by DQ after Ash got involved. Xia Li and Lei Ying Li ran in and made the Sabre ran everybody off. This match only went about 4 minutes. Ash will get her title shot next week, and the winner will face Monster Slamovich at Emergence. We had a Mara Sade video package. Remember, she debuted last week. This is the artist formerly known as Jakara Jackson. Order 4 says only they can save TNA, and Joe Hendry challenges Ali to a match. We had a really compelling interview with Sami Callihan where he says the things that Moose said, they're kind of true, and it's challenging. I've always had these body issues, and I've always just had issues in general, and maybe I was once on the top of the TNA world, but now I'm not, so I got to go out there and prove myself, which ends with him challenging Mike Santana to a match at Emergence. And in the main event, Moose and Eddie Edwards defeated Trick Williams and AJ. Francis Collision came on Thursday because AEW will not compete with WWE when WWE runs events on the weekends, which is smart for them. So over Collision, we got a new champ. Darby Allin taunts the Riders and draws them away. Brodito defeated the Gates of Agony to advance in the tag title tournament. I don't like this. Gates Agony should have got the win. Brodito just came together as a team. They really shouldn't be beating established teams. Don Callis owes Shane Taylor some money. The Paragon and the conglomeration may work together. We'll see how that goes. Darby ends up capturing Mox. Chris Statlander won a squash against Lena Cross. Remember that name while she's celebrating. Willow comes out for her match against Thekla, which Thekla wins. And after this, the Triangle of Madness, Penelope Ford and Mega Bane all come out, and they're just dumping on Willow, beating her down. Willow was saved by Tay J and Queen Aminata, so that's 4 against 5. Are we going to get a women's blood and guts match? Hey, I would love it. Overall, I'm excited. I'm excited. I wish they didn't put the women's segments together like that. Billy Gunn is going home and tells Anthony Bowens he does not know who he is anymore. Okada and Swerve will fight at Forbidden Door for the the Unified Championship. I'm going to call it the Intercontinental Championship until they change the name. FTR beat the Guns, not the Guns. They beat the Bang Bang Gang to advance in the tournament. Athena will cash in her contract at Forbidden Door, so that is set up. Athena versus Toni Storm for the AEW Women's World Championship. So who can survive 5 with the best wrestler alive? It is none other than Roosh, who does not care about the time, and Max survived 5. And Roosh just wanted to punish him. Jet Speed and AR Fox made the save after the match. Skyflight defeated Shane Taylor Promotions. Darby Allin trapped throwing Mox off of the outdoor balcony, but security stopped him. This is getting intense. Kyle Fletcher defeated Dustin Rhodes to win the TNT Championship in a street fight. We know why Dustin lost after only holding the belt for about 2 to 3 weeks. Over on SmackDown, this was the go home show for SummerSlam, and honestly, y'all, the show gets a thumbs down. Cena's back to being the real Cena. He just thanked Cody for showing him the light, and Cena's back to being good. We found out why at SummerSlam. Logan Paul arrives to the gym where Jelly Roll is training, and Logan and Drew end up double teaming Jelly Roll to beating him up. Julia defeated Zelina Vega, retaining the Women's United States Championship. Solo Sikoa tells Talatanga, your family, I got you. You're going to be Jimmy later tonight. Los Garza defeated Psycho Clown and Mr. Iguana to retain the AAA World Tag Team Championship. Damian Priest and Aleister Black fight to a DQ after Black just throws a chair at Priest and keeps beating him up after the match. I'm for this. This better lead to something big for these two. Tiffany Stratton wants Jade to have no excuses at SummerSlam, and this was their one and only segment to hype the match at SummerSlam. Tyler Tonga defeated Jimmy Uso. Someone ended up lowering the cage, and Jacob Fatu made the save. Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss aren't friends, but they're partners, which helps. And in the main event segment, Logan Paul, Jelly Roll, Randy Orton, and Drew McIntyre all ended up fighting, with Jelly Roll ended up beating up some security and chokeslamming them. It was a week go-home show. Our matches of the week from Monday Night Raw: Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, Stephanie Vaquer, and Nikki Bella versus Naomi, Chelsea Green, and the Secret Harvest. From the New Japan G1 Climax, boy, oh boy, just heat and fire all around. Shingo Takagi versus Shota Umino, Zack Sabre Jr. versus Konosuke Takeshita, Zack Sabre Jr. versus Great O Khan. From NXT, Javon Evans versus Wes Lee. From Dynamite, Hangman Adam Page versus Jon Moxley for the AEW World Championship. From Collision, Thekla versus Willow Nightingale. Also from Collision, the street fight with Kyle Fletcher versus Dustin Rhodes for the TNT Championship. And from SummerSlam, I'll go with the women's triple threat match for the Women's World Championship. The tables, ladders, and chair match, absolutely fantastic. I'll go with those two matches as from SummerSlam. My star of the week, gotta give it to Naomi for walking out champion once again. But that's our show, ladies and gentlemen. Look on the screen what we got coming up. You know, you can check out the socials, Charismatic Creations on Facebook and YouTube, Charismatic_Creations52 on Instagram, and of course the 215 on Twitter. I'll see you when I see you. Peace.